I'm James McComb, reporting live from home in my bathrobe and slippers. Tonight, we're talking Dunkin' Polar Peppermint Coffee. Gene's here with the latest. Gene, do you copy?
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Amazon for all your gifting needs.
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation. Coming back in after a long weekend is never easy. Sometimes you go too hard and have to recover real quick in order to navigate through the rest of your week. When Tuesday is Monday and motivation is low, you got to dig deep to bring your best self to the world. We all kick and scream the first day of the work week, no matter how much you enjoy your job or even if you are your own boss. So remember, just take stock. It is summer and have some fun. Well, I hope you all breeze through this week. Sometimes we have goals in our life that are important to us. We wake up and say, I'm going to do this and have a blast doing it. Then once you realize this dream and are having that blast, it is taken from you. This happened to our next guest. He wanted to serve in the Navy and do a specific billet, and was doing so with pride. Then the Navy did away with his billet. So he would either have to move to a billet he did not have a passion for or start a new goal somewhere else. He took that hard choice and chose to start over. He took the challenge and accepted it. He has started to make moves up the ladder in Hollywood with roles so far in little-known shows such as NCIS, Mom, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Superstore. While starting his resume, he went through a program to help him tell his story through theater. Once he finished this, he turned around and became a fellow through a veterans organization in the same theater, helping the next group of veterans tell their stories. Aw, hell. Let's get him on here and give a big Misfit Nation welcome to Mr. Hermie Castillo. Been, almost 3 years since we talked?
I think so. Yeah. And I think man, a lot has changed. And it's funny that I was just listening to the radio. It was oh yeah, the past 14 months has been difficult for everybody. And I was like, oh wow, it's already 14 months.
Exactly.
I think I stopped counting after 6, and then the 12-month mark came up and I was like, okay, we should be good. And then now they're saying 14, and I'm like, oh, this is nuts. And I don't know what's going on in you moved to Texas, right? Or no?
Tennessee. I was supposed to move to Texas, but that got changed. So I stayed in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In California, they're opening up everything in 5 days on June 15. So I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, it's kind of back to semi-normal now, but it'll be kind of nuts to see I mean, the traffic is already back to what it used to be, which sucks. That's the one thing I really enjoyed was it was this apocalyptic, no traffic situation, it was actually more really efficient to get around. But now, you can kind of tell everybody's kind of sick of it. And I think June 15 will be the time when I think it's you can't go back now. Once you open up everything, there's no excuse to go back because people are so sick of it. You
can't look it up and say, all right, that was just a test. Go back in your closets.
Yeah. False alarm.
Go back in the storm shelters. You guys are good again.
We just wanted to make sure everybody was alive and not crazy. Yeah, we're crazy and alive.
Want to make sure you knew how to get out of your pajamas once a day. It's good.
Oh man. But
we've been open pretty much the whole time. I can almost
wow.
We took protective measures with masks and stuff here in Tennessee, but pretty much everything was open. They had a table between people at restaurants and such.
Mhm.
other than that, it was wide open the whole time. Now there's no mask. That's the only difference. You don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah, and it's funny because like here, I think like when it's like they opened up restaurants for a brief period and then they closed them again. And then when they opened up again, like, they had to be like really strict. So there were like certain places that was like, oh, can you show like proof of vaccination? And like, luckily, like my nurse told me like, take a picture of your card just in case you have to get on a plane and like they give you a hard time or whatever. So like I saw like some people like get like turned away, and I'm like, wow, like, because like even if you like show like a proof of appointment, like, like I remember like one person was like, it doesn't mean that you actually went and got it, and I was like, oh yeah, that is true. But like I feel like if you scheduled it, like you probably really want to get it so you can go back to like some, semi-normal life, so
Right.
yeah. But
And there's so many people out there think if they get the shot, they're gonna wind up getting, I guess, fried by the 5G gods and stuff.
oh
Whatever.
man, I was like telling people, I was like, my phone hasn't improved in reception at all. So like, I mean, I think it's because my phone is old. Like I don't have 5G on my phone. That's how old it is. And I'm like, I don't know where these people are getting it from. And if it is a chip, like I feel like that's way better than what I really am anyway. So like, I don't know if I'm the right audience for it. Like, I'm not scared. I'm like, oh, like this is a legal steroid. Cool. Like everybody, like it's not, you don't have to put an asterisk next to my name. Like in baseball, like everybody has a chance to get it. It's gonna make me better or trackable or whatever. So.
I'm getting this trophy.
Yeah. Let me break all the records now with this chip, please.
Since we all have this chip, I'm just taking advantage of it.
Yeah. But I'm glad to hear your voice, man. Like I really miss like our checkups. And
those are my favorite ones.
yeah, and like I mean, after the program, like I've kind of like went and did my own thing, and then I had a friend. I think you were her mentor too, Melissa, and
Yep.
she's been doing great. I should like connect you guys if you guys haven't stayed connected, because she started her own podcast, and
I know.
She speaks to like female military personnel. I was like, that's great. Like, holy cow, I don't know that many. So
yeah, I wrote to both of you the same time to try to get you on the show, and she's just too busy right now.
yeah, I don't know how she does it, to be honest, because like the last time I met up with her, it was like, like there's like this small brief window, and I was like, wow, like she's like so busy. And like I can get pretty busy too, but when the pandemic hit, things really did like slow down for a little bit, obviously. But yeah, I hope you can get her on, and yeah, that should be a good time. So
I look forward to hearing where her journey has taken her. I mean, last time when she came to her orientation, I had her lead yoga, so she was working for me. It was good.
That's so funny.
Oh, you do yoga? Perfect.
So
I was looking at your IMDb, and the first thing that came up on the picture is you calling on the phone at the NCIS clip. And me and my wife, actually, we watched the entire NCIS series during the pandemic, from episode 1 through where they are today. And when that episode came out, we watched that like scene 3 or 4 times.
You went through like 16 years. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but like 16, 18. You went through 18 years. That's like almost like an entire military career. You went through an entire from an entire military career of NCIS episodes. Yes. Wow. That's amazing. I give you props. Like that's like to the point where like you just have to leave it on, because like if you just started, like you gotta just leave it on throughout the day and just like
you gotta finish it.
Yeah. That's amazing.
We've watched too much TV. Everything's old now.
Yeah, I think like that was like the first. I mean, that was like really early in my career, but that was like the first episode. Like it was a very big milestone because it was like a popular show that everybody knows. And I think, I'm not the type, like there's a lot of hustle going on where like you gotta like show like your accolades and stuff. And I've always been the type where like I want my work to speak for itself. Like I had a teacher that told me like about humble hustle, and you know, you don't want to. It kind of turns people off when someone's just always promoting their stuff that like even when it's like not even promotable. You know what I mean? And so like a lot of times in this business, like you'll have a lot of like smoke, you know, and not really any fire, or maybe just like a tiny flame. So like I usually just like want to just keep working, especially that this job is like so, you know, random that like, you know, if someone, you know, like says like, oh, I saw you somewhere, like I'm like always grateful. Like someone actually put a memory of my face in their brain of like, you know, they have so many things to store. And then it's just like, oh, I remember that weird looking kid doing that weird role. I don't know how old he is. I don't know what his gender is. I don't even know what his age, you know? And like, I'm like, that's so awesome. And yeah, I still get people to this day. They're just like, oh man, I was like binging like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like that's another popular show. I didn't know how popular it was. And or like I watched NCIS and I'm like, man, like I can't even remember. I mean, I remember, you know, I remember it really well. Like Mark Harmon is like one of the nicest people on set. And it made me realize that like, you know, the people that work a lot are the ones that like treat people fairly, and they're very professional too. But like, he did not have to go out of his way to make me feel so welcome, because a lot of times, like when you go on a set as a guest, you don't want to like ruin the machine that they created. You want to like go in there, be as efficient as possible, like to their pace, and then like, you know, be very thankful and like get out, and like hopefully you can do that enough where like you are one of the main parts, you know. So like I'm at that point in my journey where like I'm auditioning against a lot of very well established people, and it has upped my game a lot. But like, you know, especially with the pandemic, like there are people that are just desperate for work. So you know, yeah, that was a fun time. Like I have a story. I don't know if I told you the story, but like I remember the first time I came in for the table read after I booked it. You know, there's a table read that happens like during the lunch break of the previous episode, so they can get ready for the next episode. And everybody comes in, and like, you know, Mark Harmon comes in. He's like shaking everybody's hands, and like he comes up to me. And he's just like, "Oh, like I'm Mark," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm Hermie." And he's just like, "Is this your first time?" And it was my first time. Like I've never been to a table read, and I've heard stories of like people getting fired from the table reads because, you know, like say it doesn't like land well, or the joke or the line, or like it just doesn't work out. Like they can just let you go. So like I was just like pretty high on alert, and I think he probably sensed that. Like I was just like very not as like relaxed as everybody else, and he was just like, "Hey, is this your first time?" And I said like, yes it is." And he was just like, "All right, don't fuck it up." And then like he gives me a wink and like does that with his like, you know, the gun finger, and like goes to his chair. And of course, in the episode, I am the cold open. So like I'm the one that starts the scene, and I'm just like, all right, let me go look back. Let me just make sure I don't mess up any words, because like they got a pace going on. And I did it, and I got like a big laugh from everybody. And then I see Mark, like he like leans back in his chair, like Top Gun style, and then he like gives me like a thumbs up. And I'm like, cool. Like I don't know if that was like a joke, but like, you know, I'm glad like I'm still here. And like during the week, like he would just like go out of his way and be like, hey, like, you know, like we have like sandwiches. Like, you want me to go grab you one? And I'm like, no, Mark Harmon, like you're number one on the call sheet. Like you don't have to do anything. Like I like, thank you. He's just like very like, you know, easygoing. And I didn't know this, but his wife is I think she was the actress who in Mork and Mindy. And I was like, oh, well, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I remember watching that with my parents, like really late at night. So,
just a little boy.
yeah. So, like, yeah, that was a really good time. And it's funny that, like, you know, I was happy to be on that show, but I really wanted to play. I'm still trying to play like a military member. Like, I've auditioned for like so many like Navy guys, Army guys, Marine guys, and I just look too young, like I've gotten so close, but like I mean, the last time you saw me, I think I looked the same, like that, like I haven't really aged in like 3 or 4 years. So like, like I think hopefully in my lifetime I can, book a corporal or like a seaman recruit, like someone who's bright-eyed 18-year-old, you know.
When you're 45, they might give it to you.
Maybe. Like I think right now, luckily, I do play mid-20s right now, and I'm like 33, and I'm like, cool. I've like passed the 18-year-old mark because for a while I was auditioning against like kids or their parents, and it's like, I don't have that boyish. I mean, I look like a little boy, but I don't have that naivete that these young kids that like are fearless. They can jump off of tables and do jackass things, and I'm just like, oh no, I have like old creaky bones, and I go to the VA, So
Everyone shares the VA.
yeah. It's just like, so like I'm glad that like I am now auditioning in a room where we are all our own guardians, I guess, like they all have their own like parent. Like I've been on set where I did a show called Those Who Can't, and it was great because I did 3 episodes, and I play a nerd, and the bully, the guy who plays a bully to me, that kid was younger than me, and in between takes, I think he like really was like into the fact that like I was very confident, because like I'm an adult, right? Like I don't tolerate BS, and he was just like, man, like, oh, we should hang out sometime. I'm like, yeah, for sure, man. And he's just like, okay, yeah, so what's your socials? And I was like, oh, like my Facebook and Instagram are this. And he goes, whoa, you're a lot older than I thought. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you're not 18, huh? You're like 35. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not 35. Like, I think at the time I was like 29 or something. Like I was still really keeping my late 20s or something. And I was like, whoa, I'm not that old. And he's just like, and I'm like, what do you guys use? And then he's just like, oh, we use like Snapchat. And like, it was like right before like TikTok happened. So like now there's like a hierarchy, or like, I guess, a categorization of social media accounts. Like if you're very active on one, you kind of can tell who's in that age group that is very active on Facebook or Instagram. So
yeah. Like for the podcast, I was told to get on TikTok. I said I wouldn't even know what to do on
TikTok.
TikTok.
No, man. I think it's I don't know. Maybe I'm a curmudgeon, like I'm getting to that age where I'm just like, I don't like change or whatever. But like, I will never ever do that ever. Like I've had actor friends who are like, you got to get on it, and I'm like, no, I'm actually in a very good place right now, and I don't need that in my life. Like I don't need to hear like terrible advice from people. Like I've heard like, like someone was showing me like a financial advice like TikTok, and I was like, that's not how it works. That's a pyramid scheme. That's not how it works. Like trying to sell like a pyramid scheme. I was like, that's not how you do it. That's not how you become a millionaire. That's the worst investment you can ever make. Like all you got to do is make $1,000 a day. That's really easy. And then you just compound that, and then you become a millionaire, in 2. I'm like, no, that's not, like, tell me a job where you can make $1,000 a day from TikTok or something. I don't know. But yeah. If it's not illegal, then why isn't anybody else jumping in on this?
Why isn't everyone else playing this game?
Yeah, I need a new career. Yeah. Oh, I got great advice in 3 seconds. That's great.
You did some weird dance and I made money. All right, good.
Yeah.
I interviewed an author from New Zealand, and she has one of her kids does her TikToks for her. She pays them that.
Oh, wow. You know
So that's
what?
what
As
they
long
do.
as you keep it in the family, I guess, it's like, and I'm sure, I mean, I don't know the kid or the author, but I'm sure the kid has been wanting to get on, social media. Like the screen time, I feel like for kids is getting a little unhealthy, but like, I'm a hypocrite. Like I'm on my phone a lot. So I don't, I can't, I just know like, oh, like I feel like I'm a chronic smoker where like I know this is bad for me, but I can't stop. Like I know it's bad. like
It's making my eyes bad.
yeah, just like I know it's bad, and I probably should get the blue, the glasses that like they, like block blue light, but like I'm past that point. Like there's no help. Like
Get your blue blockers on.
yeah. There's no intervention that will work for this because it's not gonna work. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh
So I
man.
know you're still auditioning and stuff. Any big ones coming up that you might?
I think right now, like what I like about Hollywood is like there's still this. So it's funny. During the pandemic, a lot of my friends like moved out, and it was kind of crazy because like you kind of get like this like survivor bias. I think that's what it's called, or just like a lot of people that moved out, they're like they either have changed careers or they're going back to school for something else, or like they just can't handle like the very very high cost of living here. And every time someone I really really like or admire decides to quit, like a part of me just feels like bad that like, hey, we lost another good one, and but like I think there was a quote from Harrison Ford that he said that like, oh, the reason why he booked Star Wars is because like all of his friends that he auditioned with left the business. And I was like, I'm sure he had more talent than that, but like, it is getting kind of true where like I do feel that the roles are getting stronger. I did work on an episode of Mom during the pandemic, and that was wild because there was no audience. So
Oh, wow.
I was on Mom twice, and that was the second time. The first time, it was great. Like Anna Faris is still on the show. Allison Janney is wonderful, and just watching them rehearse and work on their craft like during the week before the show was like great. And thankfully they asked me to come back for their last season, and it was just very interesting. We're like, I like to walk around and like meet everybody and kind of just like sit and just like watch, like just absorb like the environment and just like see people work. But this time I had to stay in my trailer the entire time until I was get called in because, they did not want the possibility of COVID being spread. And, and so I got tested like 3 times a day. Rainn Wilson was on a guest, and I got to know him, and he was really nice. Like he's nothing like his character on The Office, which, I mean, he did a really good job on The Office, but like I was just surprised of how nice and personable he was. And so, right now, like that was great, and there was that point in my life or during the pandemic, those 14 months, that I was like, I think I could still do it, right? Like, it's not like I've done this for so long. It's just like, it just feels weird when when you don't even know when your next job is going to be. I mean, I know that now, but like now that the opportunities are coming back,
Right.
like, I've had a couple good auditions. I can tell you like, outside of this podcast, like what they are, cause like those are projects that are still being run. But like,
Right.
I think like, right now, I'm at a point where like the roles are getting so specific to me now that like now it hurts a little bit more that whenever I don't get it, because like now I'm like, oh, I can relate to that person really well. Before, when you first start out, you kind of just want to fill the story. So like you'll see me do like a one line or a couple lines here and there just to fill the storyline. But now these are fully written out characters and backstories, and when you start to like read them, and as I study them before I have to audition them, like I relate so much to these characters, and and that's good because like now, I mean, like I think they are much more fun to play, and I think I'm ready for it. It's just like, I just got to like put in the time and just keep going and, get your reps in, get those 10,000 hours or whatever they say. So, but like, like I did an episode of Mom during the pandemic, and I did a really awesome Domino's commercial right before the pandemic, and I was kind of bummed because it was so funny, and they were gonna run it like they had a plan to like run it during like March Madness, and that was gonna be fun, but because like March Madness last year was canceled, they kind of had to scrap it. So, but like, that was like right before things shut down. And but like, things are coming back, and I'm excited to see like what comes up. But like, I think one of my one of my dream jobs, I think, is to work on a sitcom, like they call it multicam because there's like multiple cameras, but it's in front of a studio audience. And I remember growing up, I used to watch lots of those shows, like like Friends, right. Coach. Like I was a big Coach fan because I loved college football at the time. It was a very old show, but like like that genre, I think is so classic. And if you can tell a really good, heartwarming story in 22 minutes or 25 minutes, depending on commercials, I guess, then I think you are able to do your job really well. Because, a lot of the times, as you know, and anything is that like people don't want BS, right? You got to cut the fat, right? So like, and especially in those type of shows, like performing in an audience is amazing, man. Like when I did it at the Geffen before I did the fellowship and worked with you, like, and also like before the pandemic, I was also like dabbling in stand up, and like, I was doing I was doing well, like starting out doing that. Like I just love performing in an audience. There's nothing that can be comparable to that, other than drugs, I think. But I've never done drugs that gave me that same kind of that gave me that same kind of high. I've heard it's an adrenaline rush. I guess that's what you call it. But like, I don't know if it's the same kind of rush that you would get from like meth. I've just seen that on Breaking Bad, I guess. So so like something where like I can perform in front of an audience, or even if it was like theater, like I would love to do theater, but unfortunately LA is not a theater town. It's more of a TV film town. But like, if I had an opportunity to go to New York for 8 months, do like a show that's on a run, like I would totally do that, but yeah. Like there's I had a recent audition I want to tell you off the air. It's for a show that's coming up. I'm still in the running for it, but like, I think you would get a kick out of the story on the show. Yeah. So,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're still enjoying it and still driving forward with your passion. And a lot of people, like you said, they do hang it up once things get a little rough.
Yeah, and I think too, like, because I'm now having friends that are like finally making the transition to leave, and I was like, why did you do it at year 12? Like you should have done it at year 6. Now you're like, maybe you could just do 8 more to retire, right? But I have a lot of friends that like, I think what would help, like, I mean, I wish I got this when I got out, but like the transition to help new veterans like figure out like what they want to do and give them those resources. Because like I remember when I got out, they said like file for unemployment. That'll last you 6 months, and then figure it out. So it's like, okay, so like I had a lot of, I think there's one veteran that like reached out to me because I guess he found me, and he was just like, how do you do it? How do you do this? And all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's going to take a lot out of you, and like, it's going to test you. Like, if you really want it, if you really want something, you're going to do everything in your power to get it done, And for me, that first year, I was obsessing over acting. Like, I would watch the greats, study them, take the classes, go out and audition, get told no every single freaking time, but like every step you take is a little step forward, even though it doesn't feel like it. But like, I really wish, I hope this pandemic has told people that like, you don't know what's going to happen in the world. So you might as well do whatever you want. like do something that you love,
Right.
because that could be taken away from you. And then like, now you're like kind of stuck or whatever, but like, at least you can say that you've done it. Right. Like if I don't book another job, oh my God, I just had this like moment. I'm like, oh, I hope I book another job. But like, if I don't book another job, I will be happy that I made that decision regardless. I don't have any regrets. And, I think maybe that's why I look young still, Rich. I don't know. So, but yeah, man, it's we'll see what happens. And like, is there anything that you want me to talk about? Like,
this was great to hear. Conversation. Okay. This is what I do. If you listen to the past ones, I just try to give one question usually, and then we just go conversation. This was just like two old friends catching up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I really like is that, like, I think you even had the mantra at the fellowship too, which was like, like, we are a band of misfits because we all come from different backgrounds. But what's great is that, like, you will find similarities in everybody, and you will find that, that wolf pack or whatever. And I remember what was cool about you is that, like, when I first started working with you, you're like, oh, hey, I know this person. Like, maybe you should reach out, and like, keeping those connections alive, like, is great. And what I really like about my time in the military is that, like, there's a sense of brotherhood when you find out others are in the military, because, like, you have friends that you haven't seen in a while, but, like, I can always depend on somebody if I have to, like, sleep on their couch. Like, if I'm in there, and I'm like, like, they will, I have no doubts of, like, asking them for help, and if I need to, and like, and the same for me, like, if they need something, no matter what I'm doing, I will drop everything and help that person out, so.
And if you need like that, no questions asked favor, you got that with a veteran.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone gets at least one of them, and sometimes there's two, depending on.
Yeah, you get one, so make it a good one.
Yeah, make a really good one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I'm glad everything's going well with you. And I had to ask: is your wife still watching Korean dramas? Is she? Has she ran out?
Okay. No, she's still watching them.
I feel like the last time we talked about that, I think like the culture has exploded. Like, it's now like a global phenomenon, and like,
and since then we had one, two, three different Korean industries move here to Clarksville, Tennessee, from Korea.
Wow, no way.
So we got better food here now, so it's good.
Oh, that's yeah. That's the one thing I don't miss is, like, living in the East Coast, or like when I lived in upstate New York when I was stationed out there. I was like, there's one Asian restaurant. It's an Asian fusion, and I'm like, you gotta separate these cultures, man. Like I can't expect certain foods just be mashed. Like, it's not gonna work. It's just they're so different.
It just doesn't taste right.
Right. And I'm just like, like, I'm not about segregation, but when it comes to food, like, you can't just mash everything together.
Right.
Like, that doesn't work. I don't care.
You need good stuff, and
yeah, I don't care how cheap it is. I think I like I don't want to pull the class card, but I'm like, you got to charge a little bit more for, like, quality.
Right.
When you think you're getting a really good deal, there's something wrong with it, I think.
Right.
You need to get screwed over a little bit, and then you're like, all right, that makes sense,
And then you're in the bathroom the rest of the day.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Yeah, so nothing really changed on that front here. Those who watched in between NCIS.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you watch any more, I mean, I think I sent you like a Vimeo link, and that link, it's got like all my clips on there, but like that's a link I maintain because my parents are always like, where are you? What are you doing? You know, and then when they do see me on TV, they're like, oh, and it'll call me at like the most, you know, unfortunate time. Like I can't answer or whatever. And they're like, oh, are you alive? You know, but like, you know, I maintain that page for them because like I think after I think a couple of jobs, they were like, okay, you know what you're doing. Right. We're gonna stop helping pay your rent. And I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kidding. But like, like they're like, you know what you're doing. We support you, and you know, and now my parents are like, they're trying, like now they're giving me advice on the business. I was like, that's not how it works. They're just like, you know what, like maybe you should try this role. Oh, I saw that like this director did this, and I'm like, a lot of it is just publicity, Mom. Like that's just how people feed into the, you know, the Hollywood machine. But like, I'm trying, you know, like I'm trying to figure it out. It's not that easy, but like, I just love that. Like now they take an interest. They're just like, hey, like, have you tried out for this? Or, you know, and especially now what I like is that like the projects are getting more diverse. So I'm sure, you know, this comedian Joe Coy, like he is doing amazing things for the Filipino community, and me being a Filipino, like I'm glad that like there's now more exposure to that. But like, you know, like I love that like the shows are getting more diverse, so they're much more representative, and I don't have to play the stereotypical roles anymore. I mean, it sucks in LA because of my last name. I'm still, and the way I look, I still am mistaken as Mexican or Spanish or Hispanic, you know. But I think hopefully, you know, I've gone up for some Filipino roles, which has been great, and I'm always like surprised to see it. But I hope more come down the line. And I hope I can get on NCIS Hawaii. I told my reps, I was like, that's a show I want to be on because my parents are still there in Hawaii. I'm like, I would love to work from home in that sense. Instead of work from home in the confines of my living room, you know, my apartment.
And actually just live there.
Yeah. You know? So
I'm actually heading to Hawaii in a couple of weeks for my best friend's retirement from the military.
Oh wow! Are you gonna? So is he on Oahu or
wherever the Air Force Base is? I guess Honolulu area.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's like Hickam Air Force Base, but now they combined both bases now. So it's like Pearl Harbor and Hickam are now joint. But like you'll have a good time. If you ever need any advice of like things to do, like let me know, because I just, one of my best friends is going there for her honeymoon. She's like, hey, can you give me like your top 10 things to do in a week? And I'm like, man, okay. Whoa. Yeah, you know, and like I figured it out, and I was like, oh, you can do these things and stuff. But like it was a good challenge, because I was like, I don't even think I do 10 things in a week. I do like one, like two, like kind of space it out. But you know, I guess like if you've never been to Hawaii and you only have 10 days, like what are, you know, you want to do as much as you can, right? So
how do you blaze through it?
Yeah, man, like live 20 years of Hawaii in 10 days, you know, blaze through the NCIS show. And that pace, yeah.
18 years in 1 year.
Yeah. I don't know how you did it, man. That's a feat, because like I can go through the entire show of Friends, which is 10 seasons, 10 years. The same amount of episodes too as NCIS, like around 20, 24, 22. So like I can get through that, you know, like pretty good. But those are 30-minute episodes. Like NCIS is 1 hour. Like, you know, so good for you, man. Like that's a record. Oh man.
So. Well, brother, it was great catching up with you on here.
Yeah.
Let's keep in touch. I have your email now. You'll have mine. And that way we can get our real phone numbers out there and talk to each other.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
If you ever need anything, if you're ever down this way through Tennessee for whatever reason, you get lost or something, you can.
You get lost. I would love to visit Tennessee, because, like, you know, my agent's from Tennessee and she loves it, and it's funny because I feel like Tennessee is now the next like there's a lot of things that are booming now there, and I don't know. There's a show on Netflix I was like binging, and it was called like Marriage or Mortgage. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but it's based in Tennessee. And the premise is that like a couple shows up and they have a budget for a house, and then they have a budget for a wedding. And then there's a realtor and a wedding planner, and you have to convince the couple to pick one. And I'm like, as a 33-year-old, 34-year-old, I'm like, it should always be mortgage. What is your problem? Like, why you spend like, I would rather buy a house. And I'm looking at the houses in Tennessee. I'm like, oh, that's a nice space. Can't afford that in LA. That's like $1 million in LA. But, you know, it seems like there's a lot of things that are happening. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, like more people are moving in there or whatnot. But, you know, maybe you should check out that show. I don't know. It's
there's 100 people a day moving into Nashville. So
what?
It was kind of crazy for a little while there. I mean, they're building straight up with apartments and such right now.
Wow.
It's insane there right now.
Yeah. You know, it's funny on the news, like during the pandemic, they're like, people are leaving LA and New York in droves, right? And then like once everything's opening up, they're like, now they're coming back. I'm like, why did you guys leave? Like if it was such a temporary move, like you could have just stayed and enjoyed, you know, how empty and open the roads were. Like, you know, like you know, you don't have to deal with like really weird people, you know. As an introvert, I'm semi-introverted. I feel like I enjoyed the pandemic a lot. I was like, I don't have to go out. This is great. I don't have to I don't see anyone. I can watch NCIS again. This is great.
Every season.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, man, it was good. It was good catching up, and you know, we have to keep it more routine. And
yeah.
You know, and I'd love to hear about your, like, man, like what's your PhD in?
Homeland Security.
Wow, that's great, man. Doc. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be great. Doctor. That's gonna be great.
I answered the phone already for my wife and daughter, and they keep telling me it's not time yet.
It's not time yet. Like I would legally change my name to have it Dr. Richard LaMonica. That's what I would do. So like there's no excuse. You have to say it. Like at the airport, the DMV, when you know, whenever someone calls out my name, you're like, Doc, like if you're at the VA and they have to call you, like when you're next, like Dr. Richard LaMonica. Like, that's me. I am a doctor. Yes, I am.
You got me.
Yes. You didn't ask what the letters are after my name. You only asked the letters before my name. So
my problem after that.
Oh man. But this has been great, man. This has been great.
That's a real good catch up, and I know I'll see you on the small screen or big screen soon. Yeah, well, now that we can get popcorn at movie theaters again.
For sure, man.
In touch now.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Hey, you too. You too, brother. Bye.
That was great chatting with Hermie, and truly catching up with him after about 3 years. You'll realize how fast time goes until you don't talk to someone for that long. He is a great person, doing the things he loves. Check out his link in the show notes and follow him as he climbs up the Hollywood ladder. All right, now, you know how we do this. Thanks for taking some of your time to spend with us on The Misfit Nation. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share the link as much as possible. If you want to, please become a supporter to help us carry this on. We appreciate you. But as always, till next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are the Misfit Nation.